sophomore. They'll need her leadership, and she's an outstanding distributor of the basketball.
Louisville, a very young team. They don't have any seniors at all on their roster. Let's take a look at the starting lineups. Leticia Romero, one of the most dynamic players in all of college basketball. And for Louisville, Brianna Jackson, what a get for Jeff Walls, the transfer from UCF, making a big impact on offense for them. These two teams played twice last year. Florida State won them both, including in the ACC semifinals, and we are underway. There's Jackson, the UCF transfer, with the ball in their hands. Mariah Moore, nice play inside to Courtney Walton, though she cannot finish.
Florida State started out in a man-to-man defense. I think really the key for their man-to-man is to stay out of foul trouble. They can't afford for Adut Bulgak to get into foul trouble. They need her presence on the interior.
There's a quick turnover. Bulgak against ranked teams has not played particularly well on the offensive end, and in both of those games against UConn and Arizona State, she was saddled with 4 fouls. Got into foul trouble early, which never helps. And 3 seconds, one pass too many for Louisville. Sue Semrau in her 19th season in charge at Florida State. What a wonderful year last year. A program record 32 wins. She was the consensus National Player of the Year. They were just a few minutes away from upsetting South Carolina in the regional final in Greensboro.
So fun to watch that team, and of course returning a lot of key pieces, but a very different squad. They're still searching for their leadership, Pam.
Both teams searching for their first points. Leticia Romero, dynamic player from Spain. Tough shot, but did not hit the iron. Rebound taken down by Jackson, who looks to run. Jackson, sort of a gym rat. Coach Jeff Walls really likes that. Hard to believe, but there are some players who don't really love basketball who play it all the time.
Well, she has a workman mentality when it comes to the game, a very professional approach. As you said, loves to be in the gym. She's very poised, but also intense.
And that is the kind of player that Jeff Walls loves. In his 9th season as a head coach at Louisville, came here after several successful years as an assistant coach at Maryland. Was there when the Terrapins won the national championship. He has taken Louisville to 2 NCAA finals, but both times they ran into the Huskies of UConn.
Team that they were very familiar with back in the old Big East days, but Jeff Walls has done an outstanding job this year. A little challenging. Saw a couple extra gray hairs with this team with no seniors.
And that is a terrific pass from Slaughter, and a good idea to get Bulgak going early.
Yeah, you have to establish her in the paint. At 6'4", Louisville really doesn't have an answer for her. They bring a freshman off the bench, and Erin DeGreat at 6'4", but she's not as experienced.
One thing Coach Walls talks about, there's a 3-second violation, that Louisville really does not have that big presence inside, as you mentioned. This is a team, that got to the Sweet 16 last year and then lost to Dayton. But both of these teams, in a way, still trying to find that cohesiveness and that identity this year.
They are. I mean, Louisville because they're young, and Florida State more because they've had some changing of the guards. They had such an impactful season, and then Conwright at the point guard was a more vocal leader, so they're looking for that right now.
Louisville trying to get out and run. Mariah Moore blown right by Slaughter and just cannot finish. Great move to get to the rim. Inside again, trying to get into Bulgak, and Coach Semrau talked to us before the game and said that they really want to try to get Bulgak more points in the paint other than putbacks.
She has to have more high percentage scoring on the interior. That's probably maybe been the most disappointing part of the season so far when you look at Adut Bulgak's accomplishments, is that she hasn't shot the ball well around the rim.
And an early substitution, Conde, there she is, one of the Spaniards on this team, in for the other one, and Leticia Romero. And Adut Bulgak in a couple of games against ranked teams, UConn and Arizona State, not good.
Yeah, she did not play well against either of those teams. Some foul trouble can get you out of the rhythm, but the other, just like we saw there on that shot, fading away, she's got to go into the defense and really invite the physical contact.
6'4", Bulgak. Her family living in Edmonton, Alberta in Canada. She has some experience with Canadian national teams, and Louisville finally gets on the board, and Erica Carter.
You see early in this game, Louisville making an effort to to drive to the rim. They believe that they can get shots right around the paint.
Mariah Moore stopped in her tracks. There's good defense and a foul underneath. Denise Brooks, Brian Brunette, Bruce Morris, our officials today. Amaya Bingley whistled for the foul for Florida State.
You hear us talk a lot about how young this Louisville team is, and one of the things you have to do when you're young and still finding your way is play hard. And that's what Louisville's doing early in this game.
Bulgak is out and Shakayla Thomas is in, number 20 in black. Instant offense, their leading scorer. And that's a nice look. Courtney Walton, a grad student from Arizona, one of the more impressive student athletes you'd ever want to talk to. Has another year of eligibility, after this one. And she says, yep, she's going to come back and play as long as she can. Loves the college experience.
Not going to blow you away with her numbers, but she does all the little things for this team.
Slaughter trying to get the rebound, and they're going to get a foul on Jackson for boxing her out a little too overzealously.
Shot is contested there, and you see Ivy Slaughter. I'll tell you this, if I am going to war, I'm taking Ivy Slaughter with me. She is one of the toughest players you will see in the country.
Brown from the outside, off the mark.
And that shot will be here, I think, for Florida State this afternoon. We'll see Louisville play a lot of matchup zone. They want to crowd the paint, take away Bulgak and the easy opportunities around the rim for Shakayla Thomas.
Moore leaves it short. Florida State on the run. Romero, after a short break, back in there. Great hustle by Jackson. Carter trying to score, and Romero does just that.
Easy baskets. Right now, Florida State has to make an effort to defend the paint. They are allowing the drive, not in defensive position.
Well, Carter credited with her 4th point, but it was Jackson's defense that got it going. Brown threw it to the wrong person.
Tip once again by Jackson.
Carter looking for some help. Hines Allen on the trail. Looked to be a little bit out of control, but was able to gather and got a pretty good look at the bucket.
She's had some charge calls this year. She said she's trying to use better body control, and she gets the call on the other end.
Call on Slaughter. Timeout. Louisville up 6-2. Their defense